It's great to be here today to talk about only one thing, and that is beer. And in fact, in my opinion, if we could get more members of Congress to sit around and have a good microbrew after work, of course, when we were done voting, we might be able to rectify more of our partisan differences, and that's part of the mission of the Craft Brewers Caucus in Congress. We have a couple of receptions a year with great help from the association, and those are great bipartisan events. I've got to go to a lot of receptions on the Hill, and I'm always beating them up and saying, life's too short for bad beer. And in fact, there's this one major group comes from the Northwest every year, the Pacific Northwest Waterways Association, and they have great seafood. And I said, you have great seafood, and you're serving this stuff to drink? And they were like, oh, we'll do better. And so now for about 4 or 5 years, they've had Rogue. But the first year, they were really excited because I got there and they said, oh, Congressman, you're really going to like it this year. We got some beer from Oregon. It's really good beer. And I said, that's great. They've been going on for about an hour, and I get in, and I often have to stop and talk. So they said, oh, we'll go get you beer. And then they come back, and they're really chagrined, and they said, they're out of beer. I said, how can it be? It's only been going on an hour. Well, the waiters in Washington, D.C. had never seen 22-ounce bottles of beer before, so every young staffer or intern who came up was very happy, and they're all wandering around the room with their 22s, and there's nothing left for me. So, now they hide them, and some in the back of the room just in case, but they educate the wait staff too. I'm a co-chair of a bipartisan caucus, and if you're following Congress, there aren't a lot of bipartisan things going on. Denny Rehberg from Montana is my co-chair. We have a number of differences politically, but we are totally in accord. We're both home brewers. We're both great friends of the industry. We both have vital and growing sectors of the industry in our own states. In the last Congress, we got up to 83 members. Our goal was 100 out of 435. We got to 83. We lost 23 in the election. So we're starting from 60. So one thing I'm going to charge everybody with who's here today is when you get back home, contact your local member of Congress and get in to see him with an appointment if you can. If not, meet with a member of their staff and try and recruit them to join the caucus. We want to be the largest caucus in Congress. We want to be the caucus that brings solutions to Washington, D.C. In liquid form and makes us a better country for all of us. We've got an important bill being introduced next week, the excise tax bill. Again, bipartisan. Beer seems to be doing that for us in D.C. It'll be introduced by Jim Gerlach, Pennsylvania, Richie Neal, Massachusetts, and it'll be to have a graduated barrel tax. And we think that actually, despite the large deficits and all the concerns in Washington, this is a good year for this bill. Because there is a lot of talk about, getting clear in the regulatory morass that everybody has to deal with, and that's an ongoing battle with some of the federal agencies that regulate your industry. But we can talk here about how this modest reduction in taxation and this graduation of the tax will bring investment and put people back to work. We had the folks from Arbor Brewing come and do a presentation at one of our events. They had quite a good crowd of staff, and they made a great case about, look, we're pretty small, we're growing, but if we just had this little bit of help, we would invest this much more and grow that much more. So next week the bill will be introduced, and that would be the second thing you'd want to talk to your member of Congress or their staff about, is now you're in the beer caucus, great, now here's this bill that is the number one objective of the beer caucus. The other thing that I just want to say is we're solving other problems. You're solving other problems. The nation has a huge trade deficit, and guess what? The more penetration we have of home U.S. brewed beer, the smaller our trade deficit gets, dealing with some large companies that are foreign-owned, dealing with imports, and now some of you folks are starting to export, and that's great. And then finally, since I'm not at the keynote and I don't want to take up too much time here, there is, some of you might have noticed that the president and I don't always agree, although we're in the same party. And, but I heard when the White House was home brewing, I thought this is a great step forward. In fact, he served a honey ale for the for the Super Bowl, which was a bipartisan event. Again, a great bringing together of folks. And I wanted to get I've got up on my website a few recipes that I use, and I wanted to put that up on my website and on the caucus website. So we contacted the White House, and we often have my liaison and I have some difficult conversations, as the president and I, and he was actually pretty thrilled that all I was calling about was trying to get a recipe for beer. And and then Ken Grossman heard about this too, and Ken said, well, if they're going to home brew, they ought to have some good organic hops. And Ken very generously sent 2, unfortunately, previously planted rhizomes in very nice pots with a beginning of a little trellis behind them, and I thought, God, this is going to be great. Another great conversation with the White House. I just want to bring down this great gift. And but then we ran into the Secret Service bureaucracy. And somehow they think somewhere in that soil, Ken has planted something that might be the demise of democracy. It might be, at least as we know it, when they grow it and they serve the hops as beer, it could make everything better. But we're going to try again with rhizomes, and I think I've got the Department of Agriculture. They actually have a little sort of garden out in front of the department every year on the mall there, and I think they're going to take them. That'll be the first time, according to their liaison, that they've ever grown hops, which will be fabulous for the Department of Agriculture. And we're making a little progress in Washington, D.C. I'm going to close the same way I did last year, because I just feel so great about this group, this audience, and what you're doing. And compared to people I have to talk to all the time, I got to deal with the financial industry and others, and these too big to fail people. There isn't a single one of you who thinks you're too big to fail. No one here wants a handout. All you want is the government, the bureaucracy, to get out of your way so you can grow, you can employ more folks, and serve a great made-in-America product that will give us ultimately, I believe, a better nation. Thanks very much. Enjoy the conference.